From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Now at 6, new developments in the Drejjon Reed police shooting death investigation, the request from the special prosecutor, and what it means for the case.
A family calling for change after their son tested negative for COVID-19 and is still not allowed in school. We'll show you the reason why. It's something you may need to know.
They told me if I didn't pay the full amount that they couldn't do anything about it, that I was going to be evicted.
The eviction moratorium is over and notices are being sent to people who are having trouble paying rent. We talked to an expert. What you can do if you are in this position.
And the pandemic is having a devastating impact on people and on the economy, but it's also affecting pets that need a forever home. How you can help.
Happy Friday and welcome in to the news at 6 here on WRTV. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. First tonight, it is a beautiful evening in central Indiana with plenty of sunshine. Not bad to start the high school football season. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory shows us what's in store for the rest of the weekend, which finally includes the Indianapolis 500. Kevin, finally.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right, does it? High school football and the 500 going on at the same time. Well, the Motor Speedway shadows taking over as the track cools at this hour. Temperature did make it to around 83 or 84 in most locations. Current conditions, temperatures in central Indiana as warm as 86 in Lafayette, 82 in the metro area. Bloomington 1 degree warmer. High school football, what a great night. Temperatures for the kickoff in the low 80s. That's a bit on the warm side, but a light wind and temperatures in the 70s quickly after the shadows grow even longer. There's your chance for a shower thunderstorm tomorrow and Sunday. It's a low chance. Temperatures tomorrow warm quickly to 85 for the afternoon high. That will come with some humidity. More on your race day forecast and the heat that builds next week coming up.
A major development in the investigation into the shooting death of Drejjon Reed by an IMPD officer. For the first time, Special Prosecutor Rosemary Corey spoke publicly about the case, and then she announced she is requesting a grand jury for the investigation into Reed's death. WRTV's Cameron Riddle is live to explain what a grand jury means for this case. Cameron.
Mark, good evening. The Drejjon Reed case has been going on for 15 weeks now, and still today, the only thing that is crystal clear at figuring out exactly what happened on the night of May 6th is complicated. So much so that the special prosecutor is now asking a grand jury to determine what happens next. Special Prosecutor Curry says she has taken every step to ensure a thorough and impartial investigation to everything except the facts at hand. But even after looking at just the facts, Curry is not announcing a conclusion to the case, now leaving that decision up to a grand jury to look at the exact same evidence and then give a judgment. After today's announcement, Indy 10 Black Lives Matter member Kyra J says the decision today could mean that there is more to the story than what the public has already been told.
I think it says that IMPD spoke too soon when they came out with that first statement of that night when Drejjon was killed. And I think they're hiding a lot of facts. And I think the prosecutor is probably seeing that now.
This is a time-intensive process. It takes time for a just and fair outcome. I wish to thank the community for their patience thus far and their continued patience so we can come to a resolution that we have confidence in.
And tonight, the law firm of Fatima Johnson, which represents Drejjon Reed's family, says they have no comment at this time. IMPD says they are deferring to the Indiana State Police and the special prosecutor for any comments. We have also not heard back directly from the mayor's office just yet. Reporting live tonight downtown, I'm Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Cameron, thank you. And the state reports an increase in new COVID-19 cases, new deaths, but also new tests. Data from the Indiana Department of Health shows 1,050 new cases of the coronavirus. That is up from yesterday. There are also 13 newly reported deaths, up from 11 newly reported deaths yesterday. The state does say more than 13,100 people have been newly tested for COVID-19. Yesterday, the Department of Health reported around 11,600 new tests. In total, so far, 2,992 Hoosiers have died from the coronavirus. More than 958,000 people in Indiana have been tested for COVID-19 since March. 8.8% of them ended up being diagnosed with the virus.
What it comes down to is they're so strictly enforcing this policy without any logic, without any common sense, or even taking a step back to think about it on a case-by-case basis.
A family in Mooresville is frustrated over the state's policy when it comes to students with COVID-19 symptoms getting sent home from school. Even if those students receive a negative test result, they must isolate at home for 10 days if they don't have an alternate diagnosis. Our Nicole Griffin is finding out what parents and students need to know.
On Monday morning, third grader William Denny was sent home from Newby Memorial Elementary School in Mooresville.
When I picked him up, he was coughing. I mean, it was a really deep, really strong cough. Had him take his face mask off once we're in the truck. Within a minute or less, he completely stopped coughing.
Michael Denny, William's dad, believes it was the laundry detergent and fabric softener he used to wash his mask that was causing an allergic reaction. His younger son, Bradley, who's in kindergarten, was also sent home, and both boys were tested at a Community Health Network drive-through site. Days later, the results came back negative.
I get it. If my kids were really sick, I would totally, absolutely keep them home. No questions asked. Absolutely. But because I know both my kids aren't sick, I'm frustrated.
Mooresville schools are following guidance from the State Department of Health. It states if a student has a cough, fever, or headache and the student gets tested and it's negative, there is a 30% chance of having a false negative test. Therefore, that student is required to isolate at home for at least 10 days unless they have an alternative explanation on a doctor's note.
The biggest problem that we've run into with this is that as soon as a kid is labeled as potentially having COVID symptoms, the doctor's office will not do an in-person visit.
A Community Health Network spokeswoman says symptomatic patients can be seen at their MedCheck locations, and they plan to reach out to William and Bradley's parents. The two are now concerned the problems they are dealing with now could continue to be an issue throughout the year.
As soon as the nurse at the school says, I think that it could potentially be COVID, all bets are off. They're out of school. And I mean, what about a kid that has allergies? You go out and you play recess and you come back in and you're sneezing.
Working for you in Mooresville, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Well, the district spokeswoman says in this week's webinar for schools from the State Department of Health, it was mentioned that they are looking for updated guidance from the CDC when it comes to requiring a doctor's note plus a negative test. We'll keep you updated on any new developments when it comes to this guidance.
The eviction moratorium is officially expired, and Hoosiers are already being faced with eviction warnings. WRTV's Stephanie Wade speaks with a woman in fear she'll be kicked out of her home and has an expert's advice if you are in this situation.
I don't want to lose my home, and I've been trying, trying my hardest to pay what I can.
Jordan McKinney was laid off from her job in March because of COVID. She says she didn't qualify for unemployment benefits because she just started working there in February with a 17-month-old daughter and falling behind in rent, plus being charged late fees on top of that. She tried working out a payment plan with her rental company.
Whenever I got the letter, I called the next day and I talked to them about it. And I said, is there any way that I could pay $100 or more a week? And they said they was okay with that. The girl said she was going to put it in the system. And like I said, whenever I called yesterday, they said nobody put it in the system.
Her rental company informed her they already began the pre-filing eviction process. And she had until August 31st to pay everything she owes in full, or she'd be kicked out.
And then on top of that, it's they already charged me $100-something for the early filing. I feel like they don't care. I feel like they're just trying to get their money.
Between 248,000 and 313,000 Hoosier households are at risk of eviction due to COVID. And only a small fraction of those have been served by the rental assistance program so far.
Andrew Bradley with Prosperity Indiana says housing needs have been the top request to the Indiana 211 portal. Court data showing eviction filings are increasing.
Just saw some stats from Allen County up in Fort Wayne that eviction filings are more than double what they were before the pandemic.
He recommends McKinney reach back out to her landlord in writing to demonstrate she's trying to make a payment plan. Also, reach out to her township trustee's office in writing as well. And at least get on the wait list through the city's rental assistance program through indyrent.org so she can prove she has been asking for help and willing to pay. Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
We also connected her with groups willing to help with rent. We have those same resources for you on our website right now at WRTV.com.
The pandemic isn't just impacting our health and finances, it's affecting our pets too. COVID-19 has taken a toll on some humane societies and animal shelters in the area as the need increases, but the donors and fundraising efforts decrease. In Hamilton County, they're expecting a $250,000 loss this year because of it. Our Megan Sanctorum explains how the organization plans to still move forward and how you can help.
These are some of the faces of animals relying on the Humane Society for Hamilton County. Staff and volunteers are working hard to keep them happy and healthy until they find a forever home. But that's becoming increasingly difficult as donations drop.
We've seen the hits come a lot of different ways.
Overall donations are down. They've also had to cancel a major fundraising event over COVID-19 concerns. And they have to close their retail store, saying it's just not profitable anymore after having been closed for a few months and an overall decrease in shoppers. In total,
right now we're looking at about $250,000 loss.
That's money that typically would be used for operating expenses and medical care for animals.
Anytime we see someone drop off or we have to cancel an event, that's a huge hit. We have to figure out other ways to recoup that money, and it's difficult.
They're not the only shelter dealing with this. Leaders at the Humane Society in Johnson County say they're seeing the same thing.
Have to balance on that. Is it really appropriate to be asking people in this atmosphere, economic and business-wise, if they could sponsor or an event or even make a donation? I think everybody is kind of feeling that pinch.
But leaders at both say they will continue to look for alternative sources of funding. When asked what happens if they don't find it,
honestly, that's not an option. We have to figure out a way to make that happen. We have to continue to save lives and continue to do what we do.
And they're asking anyone who can help financially to do so. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
A new facility is in the works for the Hamilton County Humane Society. Leaders say that money was already set aside and the project will move forward as planned. We have links on how you can help both shelters at WRTV.com.
And we'll have to look at the radar over the weekend, but next week, all eyes on the thermometer. Temperatures back to the 90s.
It's almost race day. First things first, though, today, Carb Day, final 2 hours of practice. You can't tell if he's smiling or frowning after the practice. He's smiling! WRTV track sign coming up.
And welcome back to WRTV News. Don't worry if you haven't been counting. I'm counting for you. 25 days since our last 90-degree temperature. Obviously, you have to go back into July. We'll only wait a few more days, though, before temperatures return to 90 or above. Let's talk about what's happening here as we go through the next several days. Temperatures go above average. And next week, on several occasions, temperatures will be at 90 degrees or warmer. Also climbing during that time period will be the humidity. It never gets atrocious, but it will be noticeable as we climb the scale toward the very humid level. Now, that combination of heat and humidity unlikely to produce thunderstorms much of next week. We'll wait till the end of next week. How that plays out may be due to a couple tropical systems you'll see here in 1 second. There's the heat next week. Temperatures Monday almost to 90. If we don't make it, up and over on Tuesday. Wednesday, temperatures still in the low 90s. That's the warmest day on Wednesday. This is rare. Don't think it's happened since the 1930s if it plays out this way. If we have two tropical systems making landfall at roughly the same time within the 24-hour period, but that's the potential there impacting the Texas Gulf Coast and then the Gulf shores of, say, Alabama, Louisiana, maybe the panhandle of Florida. As you can see, the rain tonight, sits well to the south of the Ohio River. We've had some high clouds streaming into central Indiana. It will be a nice evening, albeit a little on the warm side for high school football. Temperatures in the low 80s during the day tomorrow. 66 in the morning, warmer start, warmer finish. 85 the afternoon high. The chance for any showers and thunderstorms just 30%. I start the timeline in the afternoon. By the time we get to 4 to 7, there are some of the showers and thunder showers in the southeast portion of the state. They're likely going to stay there and not make much progress to the west. As I mentioned, our chance for a shower thunderstorm less on Sunday than what we expect tomorrow, just a 20% chance. Then we're dry and hot. Warm or hot, I'll let you choose that. 92 is when temperatures peak on Wednesday of next week. Our rain chances will increase toward the end of next week, and that will also drop the temperature back just a little bit. Well, it was quieter for Carb Day today, but they still made some noise at the track. Let's check in with Dave and TK.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV Trackside, streaming now.
WRTV Trackside, wrapping up Carb Day 2020. Tony Kanaan, Dave first. If there was ever a day yet where we missed the fans, this was it, right?
I mean, this day, typically, you would have seen guys without shirts, girls without shirts. At this point of the day, we couldn't barely walk around here, right? And it's weird, man. It was a good day, but it's weird.
2-hour practice that expanded over the years, and some teams needed every bit of 2 hours today.
Here's the thing, how crazy this place is. The car was awesome on Sunday, and some guys struggled so much today, which is the wrong day to struggle. But we actually did too, and we figured out at the end.
I was going to say, we picked up you climbing into the car and getting ready to go. What were you guys going through? I'm sure there was a checklist of stuff to go.
Well, we made a couple changes. Obviously, we undid those, and then we had to check. We we balance check the tires. Basically, you go out of the pits, just drive in the back straighter at speed and come back in, not to wear them, but to see if they're balanced. We did that in 4 sets. You check gearboxes, you check leaks and everything else. And on top of it, because they extend the session, you try to figure out that last change, which we have not. So we went back to the car we had Sunday.
Quick 6, it looks like this. Pato Award, your buddy Scott Dixon's in there, Rossi's in there, Sato. I mean, there's 3 Indy 500 champions right there. Do you make anything of who was fastest today?
No, Carb Day is like who got the draft, and people are running different laps with different types of fuel, tires. Right. I mean, it's more important to know what you have in your hands. Obviously, it's nice to top the charts. I did it the last 2 years. You finish Carb Day like, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
But still, top 2, and those guys are ready to go as well.
The only thing that might get us into a debate situation, just the weather, looking up how it's going to be quite a bit hotter track temp and ambient on Sunday. I think it'll make things interesting.
It's going to be a slightly different race maybe than last year. Fuel mileage could be pretty, it's pretty draggy out front by yourself. I think you can save a ton of fuel mileage in traffic, which, if it's 2 or 3 laps each stint, can get out of whack pretty quickly. So I think it's going to be definitely a pretty big mindset, I think, on strategy too, that it doesn't get away from a lot of people.
Guys that were further back, Brian Hunter-Reay was 22nd, Graham 25th, Marco's 28th. Is that at all indicative of what could happen Sunday?
No, I mean, Marco's just, trying to figure out what his car has. He knows what it is. I mean, again, if you're not struggling, today wouldn't be the day to try to figure out something else. You can actually confuse yourself a lot more. The conditions were different. Look how hot it is. It was actually how hot it's going to be on Sunday. It wasn't that hot today. So, look, today was more. Remember, it's Carb Day because they used to call Carburation Day when you had carburetors that you had to fine-tune them, right?
The kids out there don't even know what carburetors are.
I had to explain to my kid the other day what that was. He had no clue.
All right, off day tomorrow, which usually would have been the parade and another fan experience.
But tomorrow we're doing something really cool that I can't really say because it's a surprise to the fans. So,
so we'll find out on social media? Or
100%. So you guys see it. It's one thing. Each driver is doing one thing, but with the limitations of social distancing, we're still going to do something.
Good luck tomorrow, or on Sunday. By the way, we're covering high school football tonight. You want to go with us?
Why not? I have time. I have nothing tomorrow.
Week 1 of high school football coverage tonight at 11. For TK, I'm Dave First, WRTV Trackside.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, he might as well just come along for that. A 5-year-old Indianapolis 500 super fan who has cancer is getting his wish.
And this is all through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. 5-year-old Ari is from Indianapolis and he loves the Indy 500. In fact, he is named after racing legend Arie Luyendyk, so his family is definitely into racing.
Oh, the road has not been smooth for little Ari. Like we mentioned, he's a cancer patient, and with the COVID-19 pandemic, he isn't even going to be able to attend the Indy 500 on Sunday.
So the Make-A-Wish Foundation found out about Ari's love for cars and for boats, so they surprised him with a VIP tour of the RPM collection in Fishers that features rare exotic cars, memorabilia from the history of the 500.
And that's not all. We mentioned that Ari also loves boats, so Make-A-Wish is getting him his own pontoon boat.
The generosity of people that we've never heard of, not just Make-A-Wish, but everybody. We've had care packages from Canada, people we don't even know. Once again, a total stranger inviting us into his collection is just it's overwhelming.
Ari and his family did not actually get the pontoon boat today. The pandemic has caused boats to be in short supply. It's not clear exactly when Ari will get his pontoon boat, but Make-A-Wish says it is coming eventually. We'll be right back.
And a beautiful Friday evening across central Indiana, the entire state for that matter. You're looking at the Motor Speedway. It is spotless now, and the weird thing is it will be spotless immediately after the race concludes, so there will not be the big cleanup stories next Monday after the race. At 85 the high with a 30% chance we'll see a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, especially to the east and southeast of Indy. Rain chance diminishes on Sunday, temperature up just a bit, almost 90. Amanda.
All right, thank you, Kevin, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 7.